Landfall has begun. Cyclone Veronica is a large system and has moved very slowly, causing destructive winds and heavy rainfall on the central Pilbara coast. Cyclone Veronica's forward eye wall is now grazing the coastline. The diameter of eye is still about 75 kilometers wide. Veronica is forecast to hover over the coast and just inland, possibly for the next 24 hours, until she is steered west, crossing over Karratha, ocean-bound once again. Here is the latest press briefing regarding Cyclone Veronica with the Premier of Western Australia, the Minister for Emergency Services, and the Bureau of Meteorology.
The briefing indicates that this is a very, very slow-moving cyclone, slower than most that have been seen before. It's also a very, very large storm and one not to be underestimated. The advice is that it's coming in somewhere between Headland and Karratha. The red zone includes all those communities between Karratha and Headland, and therefore if you live anywhere between and including Karratha and Port Hedland, you need to be very careful and listen to all the advice that is being provided. Essentially, this will go on for some time yet.
Can I reiterate what the Premier said? This is an unusual cyclone. It's unusual because of its slow-moving nature. It's moving at anywhere between 8 and 10 kilometres an hour, which means that the destructive winds and the severe rain will be in the area for a long period of time, up to 12 hours. Some of the cyclonic winds on the edge of the epicentre of the cyclone will go to up to 100 and 150 kilometres an hour. The red alert for the area is in place for good reason. These are damaging, destructive winds, and with the rain as well, it presents a very, very dangerous situation for people.
Thank you, Premier. Thank you, Minister. The latest on severe tropical cyclone Veronica is that it's located roughly halfway between Port Hedland and Karratha, just off to the north of Wickham. It's very slow moving, just drifting very slowly southwards. Being a Category 3 system, it's packing winds of up to 220 kilometres an hour in the core of the cyclone, which is currently impacting the coast midway between Port Hedland and Karratha. The significant nature of this system, as been mentioned before, is that it's slow moving. It's affecting a broad area all the way from Dampier to Port Hedland, with gale force winds beginning in that area as early as yesterday evening, and they continue as we speak. And being slow moving means those damaging and destructive winds near the core of the cyclone will be impacting communities between Karratha and Port Hedland for much longer than would be normally expected from a cyclone. Also being slow moving, heavy rainfall will be an issue and lead to flooding through that area. We've had falls of over 200 millimetres or more through the area so far, and we're expecting that to continue for the remainder of today. The other significant feature with this system is the potential for a damaging storm surge on the eastern side of the track as winds pile up from the onshore flow from the cyclone, and inundation of low-lying coastal areas is expected. I'll just reiterate, the slow-moving nature of the system is what makes it different and unique. We're expecting the very destructive core to be impacting the coast until late tonight, before the system starts weakening overnight tonight and during Monday. But we're expecting the storm surge to be quite significant because of the high tides at the moment. So the high tides are close to the highest of the year through the Pilbara coast at the moment, and that leads to, obviously enhances the risk of significant storm surge. Normally the storm surge is maximum around that, just to the eastern side of the track where the strongest onshore flow is. Core of the intense winds and heavy rainfall is right on the coast at the moment. We're seeing wind gusts of up to 154 kilometres an hour just observed at Roebourne. That Roebourne, Wickham, Point Sampson, Cossack area is experiencing very destructive winds at the moment, and you'd expect those conditions to be felt all the way along the coast between Karratha and Port Hedland. The conditions are as bad as they're going to get from now right through the rest of today.
It's a slow-moving Category 3 system, which continues to display a large eye with prolonged impacts expected for coastal areas. Winds and rain have already started to pick up. Legendre Island recorded a wind gust of 157 kilometres an hour earlier today, and we've seen 182 millimetres of rain around Port Hedland in the past 24 hours. A very dangerous storm tide is possible for parts of the Pilbara coast to the northeast of the cyclone. Tides are already running high, and Veronica will force extra water on shore, so significant coastal inundation is possible. The biggest risk will be at high tide, which will occur around 1 p.m. today and around 1:30 a.m. tomorrow morning at Port Hedland. Rainfall totals in excess of 500 millimetres are possible with the passage of this system. This widespread heavy rain is expected to cause major flooding along the Pilbara coast. Roads may become cut and some communities may become isolated.
HVN will continue to follow severe storms in this region, so please click on the subscribe button to the right and bell for notification of new video updates.